Hello, Aspiringpreneur. You asked me the other day about reading. You said you don't like to read a lot. Let me give you some tips and tell you the craziest thing a multimillionaire ever told me. Hi, I'm Lyle. I'm the virtual coach for Aspiringpreneurs. I'm here to help you out right here on YouTube. Isn't that cool? Today we're going to be talking about reading, and I know it's the craziest thing. You don't want to talk about reading because a lot of us don't hate reading because we're out of school and then we don't want to go back to doing all the things we did in school. Sometimes it's just a brain process, but the more you put into your brain, the better your brain's going to work. If you want to grow as an entrepreneur, you have to put something in your brain, and doing books, reading them, actually physically reading them is going to be helpful for your brain. Now, I'm not going to get in and out. This is not going to be a conversation about digital books or physical books. I personally think physical books because I like to touch and feel and look. But you can also do audio books, so keep those in mind, okay? So I'm going to give you some tips. Number one, find a little book. This little book right here is one of my favorite fun books to get started with. It's called The Rhinoceros Success. It's fun. It's a fable. It's kind of joking. It has a lot of fun little stuff in it. And look how short it is. It's really simple. Look how little the words are. That's it. And it's fun, interesting. So find a fun book, first off, something that excites you, something that's interesting. Again, you're looking to grow your brain. So how do you want to grow your brain? First, ask yourself, am I having bad thoughts? Do I have a negative attitude? If so, find a positive book. Maybe you need to grow with your skill levels. You need to grow in business. Maybe you need to find a business-specific book. Maybe you're developing a team and you have to find a leadership-specific book. So find a book that fits the specific category. This one right here is just basic business. It's getting started in business. He talks about being a rhinoceros. He pretends he's a rhinoceros because they're thick-skinned and he gets through business. It's kind of a fun thing. I'll put a link down below this video if you want to check this book out. I think it's a great opportunity for it. Another thing you can do is you can find little bitty books. This is a little bitty book. See? Not even the size of my hand. And you can take this with you and you can just kind of read a chapter at a time. You see how little these are? And the little short little lessons, and the reason I'm showing these little things because the short little lessons will help you give a little bit. And I'm talking just in the morning before you leave, take 5 to 10 minutes and just read a couple pages. It doesn't have to be long. Now here's the weirdest thing a millionaire's ever told me. You ready for it? I love telling these stories. So I was at a meeting and these millionaires were saying, oh yeah, readers are leaders and leaders are readers and doing all this stuff like this. And I was not a good reader, I'll be honest. In school, I could read, but when I read in front of a class, I was always like, I don't know if I can do this and everything. So, but anyway, I asked him, I was like, look, how can I read? I don't like to read. It's hard for me to read. It's hard for me to kind of put all those words together and everything. So how do you read on a regular basis? He's like, you're going to laugh, but here's what I do. I take my book and I tear out the pages. I was like, what? What do you mean you tear out the pages? That's the craziest thing. Why would you buy a book and tear it up? He said, I'd rather have a tore up book that I read than a book that I've never touched. Because a book that's on the shelf isn't going to do your brain any good. Oh man, I was like, really? So what he would do, now this is before the digital age. We're in the digital age, so you can do this easier now. You don't have to tear up books. Please don't tear up books. Books are good. But what he would do is he would take a chapter at a time and he would tear that out of the book, and as he was going along his day, if he's waiting in line for some food or he went to the grocery store or whatever that was, he would take that little section out and he would read it and then set that one aside and he would read the next page. And so he'd pull out one at a time and read one page at a time. What I'm telling you is you can read a couple of pages at a time. Find natural breaks. So I'm going to pull out another little book to give you an example here. Here's another little tip. So this book right here, you see that these have little headlines. Hopefully you can see this. And so I could just read one little section and stop where the next little headline is. So I could technically, this one's John Maxwell's Leadership 101. It's a really simple book. This is a good book to start. This one, this Rhinoceros Success, is a fun book because it's got lots of fun things in it. But something like this, it gives you little snippets. And I like little snippets. So this one says leadership without leverage, and it's basically that one, that section goes to right there, and that's it. So you see that's only a page and a half, but look how little the book is. Let's compare the books. And this one's not even a big book. So you see how you can just do a page and a half and make it really simple. Now when you're reading, let's say you have ADD like me, you're like, I don't know, I get distracted, or you read like a whole page and 2 pages or 3 pages later and you're like, I have no idea what I just read because I was thinking about something else. That's what the ADD brain does. So let me tell you some quick tips. What you want to do is you want to read it, as you open it, take something and block out the sections. You're going to force your brain to actually read. I'm going to flip this over. Okay, so you're going to force your brain to actually read. You're going to go like this, and a sentence at a time, and you're going to keep your hand moving. It's very important to keep your hand moving. Okay, because what you're going to do is your brain's going to be looking at these. You're going to try to read the whole thing. Now, If you want a whole nother lesson on reading specific skills, ask me in the comments and I'll make that video. This is not what this video is, but this is a good tip because you can block out other distractions. Personally, what I usually do is get something that's blank so I don't distract myself even more. And I put it on here and I'll read as I go through. An index card, those little cheap index cards is really good. You want something that's kind of thick, and then you can stick that in there and that'll be your bookmarker when you remember to go to it. Now, again, when you remember to go to it, let's talk about that. If you need to remember to go to it, put it on your schedule. Schedule some time. So let's say you eat lunch at noon every day. So right at 12 o'clock, you're gonna set up 10 minutes of time. You're gonna schedule it on your calendar. You're gonna set a reminder and you're gonna take 10 minutes to read. And just simple, pull it out, read quickly. Maybe you have trouble reading before you eat, so do it after you eat, but don't do it too long after you eat because you go to sleep. I don't want you to do that. Also, I found personally, I don't like to read early in the mornings because I might fall asleep because I'm still kind of drowsy from the day before, so find a time that works for you. If you do it at nighttime, that's perfectly fine. If you do it in the morning, that's perfectly fine. If you do it in the middle of the day, that's perfectly fine. Find a time where your brain is awake and alive and you can really focus for 5 to 10 minutes. That's all it takes. So break down all these giant books in 5 to 10 minutes and then you have some nice fun tips. Now, let's talk about audiobooks. If I have an audiobook, I'm going to download like audible.com. If you've never heard of them, there's a link below here. I'll put that as well. But audible.com, you can actually get success books and they'll read them to you. That's kind of a cool thing. What I suggest though, still buy the physical book and open the book and have the audio being read while you're following along. That engages the brain in a higher level. Next little tip you want to do, write down what you learned. After every chapter, after every section, if you just read one page, just take a little couple of moments and write down, today I learned da-da-da-da-da. One thing I can do from this, da-da-da-da. Whatever it is you need to do, but write a little bit about what you learned. It's going to help you retain it. If you're just listening to it or you're just reading it and you're not acting on it, it's not going to do any good. The only way you're going to grow in business is to learn, take action on what you learn, because the speed of implementation is the key to success. How quickly you put that information into action. So Aspiringpreneurs, you're here because you want to succeed. I want to see you succeed. Ask questions, subscribe, and make sure you're keeping up with this because there's so many cool things coming up. I can't even tell you. I've got like 30 things laid out already on actual questions that I've had from people that I've actually coached. So hopefully this will help you out. Again, I'm Lyle. You're a virtual coach here on YouTube and whatever other channel we stick this on. Find a few moments, find a book, read it. If you need some suggestions, I'll have some below. Have a great day.